Hey, hi. Welcome to Zion National Park, and we're going to do a little flow here. Got some of the mountain range behind me, and we're actually staying in these little yurts, but thankfully this is Caden's, and we have a bigger one. But I'm going to have you start off like in a child's pose, taking a few moments just to set up, and then tabletop position, and some nice cat and cows or barrel rolls, anything that just kind of opens your spine. And then when you're ready, we will go ahead and head to our mat. However, I don't have one, so some of the things I won't be lowering my knees on. But when you're ready, go ahead and lift up into a down dog. You're gonna pull your head through your arms, lifting up through your hips. Maybe starting to pedal out to awaken those hamstrings. And then let's take a few times to shift forward into a high plank. And then back to that down dog, stretching the shoulders, finding our core, rolling back and forth a couple times. The next time you find yourself into that high plank, either hold or take a chaturanga, elbows pinned to the ribs. Release your toes, maybe drop your knees, and drop your hips, lift your chest, breathe in. And breathe out. We'll meet into that down dog. Let's spend just a few more moments with a little warm up, bending the knees and kind of finding that launching down dog. One of my favorites is adding that little twist. It's a nice lat stretch, side body stretch here. And we'll meet in a down dog here. Let's start to build a flow. Right leg is going to lift. Let's roll out the ankle, bend the knee, and lift that knee skyward. Now, if you're somebody that likes back bends, go ahead and work your way into a wild thing. Maybe kind of working on that kind of free floating side plank as you find your way into your wild thing. Inhale. Wherever you are, we're going to meet back into that down dog splits. Breath in, and it's a lizard. Right foot comes outside of that right knee. Pausing here, lowering the hips. You might drop your knee to release that front left hip flexor. Adding on a nice little twist can feel really great. You might even bend that back knee, but since I'm on gravel, I'm not going to. Inhale, we're going to lift up to a low lunge. Go ahead and pike up those hips. And then walk back, journey back to the Skandasana here. Right leg extending, left knees bending. Take a moment just to stretch and to warm and lengthen that right inner thigh. Let's meet in a wide leg forward fold here. Breathe in. Lots can happen here. You might want to go to a ragdoll since we're early in the practice. You might just like that wide leg forward fold or that wide leg forward fold with a bind. And from that wide leg forward fold, journey back to that low lunge. Pausing, power up briefly for a standing splits. Try to get that right leg straight. Left arm's gonna lift for your half moon. Push down through that right foot, lift up through that left hand, and try to keep that top leg nice and engaged. Let's land as soft as we can. Warrior two. Peaceful warrior, right arm is up and back. And then just take a nice side body stretch, straighten through that whole right side. Pull that right wrist up and back. Rebend and find that cartwheel. High plank, maybe a three-legged plank, and flow through your Vinyasa. Same thing on that left side, left leg lift. Let's play with rolling out that ankle, opening up that hip. Staying here, we're kind of finding that kind of free fall into your wild thing. Kind of as a side plank momentarily, and then we make that third point of contact. Breath in, sometimes dropping these hips down gives you a little momentum. That left leg comes through. It's your lizard pose. Left foot is inside that left hand. Drop your hips forward and maybe even take that twist. We did a big hike today, so this feels good. All right, let's pop up those hips. From your low lunge, you're crawling back to a Skandasana. Couple breaths here, awaken through that left leg. And meeting in a wide leg forward fold here. I'm gonna walk over to my right leg and then walk over to my left. You do you. From your wide leg forward fold, lift those left toes. We'll frame the left foot and power up to a standing splits here. Keeping it brief, open the hips to a half moon pose. Top leg is strong and engaged. Let's lift up through that top hand. Breath in. Let's try to find a soft landing. Warrior two, breath out. Peaceful warrior, left arm is up and back. And taking that nice long side body stretch here. Warrior two, rotate the chest and find your low lunge. Left leg kicks back. Chaturanga your way. And inhale to your cobra, your up dog. All right, we'll move breath to movement. Right leg is lifting, bending, opening here. Option for that wild thing if that feels nice. Inhale is that down dog splits. Right leg lifts. Step through lizard pose. Breath in. Lift the hips, low lunge. Skandasana, breathe in. Wide leg forward fold, breathe out. Inhale, we'll lift halfway, pivot on that toe. You're in that low lunge. Standing splits. Open to a half moon. Go ahead and take a full breath in and a full breath out. Land with control, warrior two. Peaceful. And it's kind of a reverse triangle here. Warrior two to that low lunge. Right foot comes back. Vinyasa your way. Left side. Left leg lifts, bend, open, maybe. Wild thing. To get to that lizard, it helps to drop the hips. Left leg comes forward. Drop the hips. And then lift the hips back to your Skandasana. Wide leg forward fold, breathe in. Lifting halfway, pivot to that low lunge. Standing splits, push down to lift up and open to that half moon pose. Landing with control. Here's your warrior two. Reverse your triangle with a bind. And release, cartwheel your hands and lunge. Left leg steps back, vinyasa your way. So you can repeat that again. You can add anything on that you want. I'm going to add a Gomukhasana, which might not be everybody's favorite. So just take something different. Same beginning of your flow, right leg lifts, bend and open. You can take that flip dog if you want, or that wild thing. And then find your way back to that lizard. Breath in, low lunge, Skandasana, wide leg forward fold. Now I'm going to be turning away from you, but we basically turn 180 degrees. If your knees don't, you kind of protect your knees, don't do this one. Just have a seat and take a figure forward. I'll show you kind of how to get into that Gomukhasana, but we really just pivot 180 degrees and your knees stack on top of each other. Show you what that looks like. Yeah, So that right knee is on top of your left. Try to shimmy your hips in between your heels. And once you get here, you might take a nice lean into a child's pose. And also some side body stretches feel really good here. So if you're not here, that is just fine. Your transition would simply be just to come in, have a seat, and take a figure 4. It's the same posture, nicer on the knees, right? Now, if you're in that Gomukhasana, you're gonna spin back around, plant that right leg. So instead, we'll move from a standing splits, but go into a curtsy. So that left leg, probably hard to tell where it is. It's coming off to the right, and you're pulling your hips back. And you might even lift that right arm up. That makes for a nice IT band stretch. Option to move into a crossed ankle forward fold instead of a curtsy, or maybe a little bit of both. You're gonna journey back to your high plank. Some of you might wanna play with your crow. You're already crossed ankle, so if you wanna play with a crossed ankle crow, it's kind of fun. Lifting up the heels, meet me in your down dog, go to your vinyasa, or leave it. Down dog. Same thing on this left side. Left leg is lifting, you're bending and opening, maybe. Wild thing, maybe that flip dog. And then finding your way to that lizard breath in. Sit back, Skandasana, all about the hips here. Wide leg forward fold. And then if you're taking that Gomukhasana, it's a turn to the left. The left knee begins to cross. Take a minute to set up your posture. Left knee is on top of that right. And this kind of this movement of everything midline will get you to the pose. Yeah, and you can sit up. You can take those side body stretches. My personal favorite is that child's pose. Or you're back into that figure 4. On your back, on your bottom. And if you're in Gomukhasana and you're ready to come out, carefully place that left foot down. You're powering up to that brief standing splits, and then your right leg steps outside. It's a curtsy. I'm pulling the hips back. Maybe left arm goes up. Cross ankle forward fold. Sure wish I had a block here, that would feel better. Just be aware of your back. And then as you unwind, just come into a wide stance. Coming into ragdoll or a yogi squat. And when you're ready, let's go ahead and stand. Last piece of our practice today. Find a bind, open up your chest here. And then let's just find a brief tree pose here. So the foot doesn't have to be high. If you can get it there, great. But keeping those arms behind you, pull your shoulders away from your ears. Kind of trying to open up that neck, shoulders. Right knee's pulling out. Stretching that inner thigh. Breathe in, you're welcome to go to a figure 4. And then we'll meet back in a mountain pose. Get it, honey. Tree pose, other side. You can always get to your tree and then find that bind. Staying here, working your balance, or finishing out your flow with that forward fold, figure 4. thank you so much for joining me in Zion for a quick little flow. I'll give you just a little extra view of the mountains here. We were in the park today doing some really good hikes. I'll show you our funny little yurt where we're sleeping. This is glamping at its best. All right, take care.